Motion Lab at DevOps Belgium 2024. My next guest is Patrik. Welcome, Patrik.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about a loaded subject. Server-side rendering. There are opinions about it. And there has been iterations for ages of it. Should we mention stuff like Java Server Faces?
Obviously.
Apache Wicket, GWT. I would say, looking at the front-end landscape of 2024, people pretty much gave up on it, right? Replacing the full stack development, which means we're just going to do JavaScript in the front end, your Angular or whatever, and then leave Java for the back end.
Yeah, so it's
and good luck with gluing it all together.
Yeah. Two-stack development, actually.
Right. But you disagree, and you want to tell us about a framework that actually manages to do it?
Yeah, and it's the one like I just happened to found. Yeah, it's not something like I will be directly affiliated with, but on the project I've been building, I was like, yes, I probably want to go back to server-side rendering because at the time, it was only single-person project. No one to do like specific
and
development.
You don't want to do JavaScript.
Yeah, and I don't want to do JavaScript.
Yep.
So, then I found out, the obvious, the loudest choice of the season, which will be HTMX, which does pretty nifty things. So I'm going like, all right, so let's have server render pieces of HTML and just replace it on the page. And then I found Unpoly, which takes more holistic approach. And I say, okay, let's assume we start with an application that always does full page renders, and we just want to replace bits where it matters, and also have it declarative, the same way like HTMX does. And Unpoly, which is the thing we are speaking about, actually comes from a company that was doing Ruby on Rails consultancy. So it's quite natural. That's what Ruby on Rails does, renders full pages. And they were kind of in the same situation, like, why are we doing all that Angular and React when, we can get 90% of what we need just from Rails and just merge things on the client side in a way that it feels faster and it feels more responsive. And then just do the final 10% of interactivity on the client.
Interesting. So how does the development model feels?
Pretty natural. I mean, since I've been doing that like for 20 years already. It sometimes feels like that's what I've been doing 20 years ago. Or the question very frequently is, how do I build this view? How would I do it 20 years ago? When all I had was links and forms. How do I split it up and then just add few declarative attributes, or very often not even that because there are sensible defaults, and it kind of merges together almost by itself.
Nice. So I think what changed in the last 20 years is that the web front end became much more evolved, much more complicated. People do pretty amazing stuff on the client. Right. And the question is, won't like your traditional server-side rendering look very 20 years ago comparing to how the front end looks now for the applications?
Not at all, because it's not just the JavaScript that makes the front end being nice. Most of that, I would say, is CSS, and you can do CSS, you can do transitions, without need of doing JavaScript. Like most of those animations 10 years ago, we actually had to use JavaScript to make things moving on the page nicely, to transition nicely. And it became much simpler with CSS animation, with CSS transitions now. So it doesn't necessarily look old.
So Unipoly won't necessarily excuse you from doing any front-end job. You still
Yeah.
will do CSS.
Exactly.
You still will work on how the page looks and feels, but
It's just
content will come directly from
yeah,
that.
it's just that the HTML comes from the server, and with comes not only the fact that yes, I've got some templates on the server, the decisions of what goes onto a screen that's made on the server. That's the true benefit of having server-side rendering. You do your validation only once. You do your view logic only once, deciding like, okay, if user done that, this will be the next step, and you don't need to like decide on the client side and then verify again on the server side that that's exactly what happened. That somebody didn't just do edit and send on a JSON request in the browser.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. It always felt wrong to do this double validation and all this kind of stuff. And we'll see. Maybe Unipoly will be the solution, the holy grail of server-side rendering that we are looking for all our careers, basically.
Yeah, I certainly hope so, because it makes your day nicer.
Today we learned. Patrik, thank you very much. That was very interesting. You folks out there, check out Unipoly, and obviously stay tuned for more episodes of the Build Proposal Lab here at DevOps Belgium 2024. Coming right up. See you soon.
Thanks for having me.